Ethnic violence in South Sudan. Murle-Nuer fighting. Euro Massacre, 2011. On August 18, 2011, an attack in Uror County, northern Jonglei was reportedly launched by Merle tribesmen after armed groups infiltrated into the Peri and Pukwal districts, PIMs. At about 5 a.m. the attack is believed to have been a revenge operation against the Murle-Nuer tribe after an attack on the Merle the previous June in Pibor County. At least 640 people were killed and the attackers burned down over 3,400 houses and the hospital run by Médecins Sans Frontières. An initial estimate showed that 38,000 heads of cattle were stolen and 208 children were kidnapped. Pibor Massacre, 2011 to 2012. By December 25, 2011, the Nuer White Army released a statement stating its intent to wipe out the entire Merle tribe on the face of the earth as the only solution to guarantee long-term security of Nuer's cattle and attack United Nations and SPLA personnel if they interfered. The United Nations mission in South Sudan, UNMISS, deployed peacekeepers to Pibor on 30 December in an effort to avert an attack by 6,000 armed Murle-Nuer youths. United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon and UNMISS head Hilda Johnson called on Murle-Nuer and Merle fighters alike to lay down their arms and allow the government of South Sudan to work with them toward a lasting solution to the crisis. Activists, including minority rights group International, warned of genocide in the conflict. At 3 p.m. on 31 December between 3 to 6,000 Murle-Nuer tribesmen attacked a part of Pibor not protected by the UN peacekeepers. Houses were reported to have been set on fire and much of the town, including the airport and main hospital, were occupied. The Murle-Nuer were said to have pursued members of the Merle who were fleeing southwards. The South Sudanese government promised to send more army personnel and 2,000 police to the town to reinforce the 800 troops already there. The healthcare charity Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, said that it lost contact with 130 of its staff who were forced to flee into the bush due to the attack. MSF said that a hospital and 2 outreach clinics were overrun, with some reports stating that the hospital had been set on fire. Looting was said to have taken place at MSF facilities. By 2 January, the majority of the Murle-Nuer forces were said to have left Pibor and started to move to the southeast, with a UN spokesman saying they were almost certainly looking for cattle. The UN said that it had successfully held the main part of Pibor alongside South Sudanese army troops. The UN was advising people in the area to disperse into the bush for their safety. Estimates for the number of displaced ranged up to 50,000, and more than 30 were killed with as many as 80 left injured. The SPLA dispatched 3,000 soldiers and 800 police to support the government's garrison in Pibor. On 5 January, Joshua Kanye, the commissioner of Pibor County in Merle, estimated that 2,182 women and children and 959 men were killed, 1,293 children were abducted, and 375,186 cows were stolen. The United Nations estimated a total death toll of 900 between December 2011 and February 2012 as a result of the Nuer-Merle clashes, prior to the South Sudanese government's disarmament campaign in March. A peace deal was signed in May 2012 by representatives of 6 ethnic communities in Jonglei State. Akobo County attack, 2013. In February 2013, an attack by a group of armed Merle youth killed more than 100 civilians and 14 SPLA soldiers. South Sudanese Civil War. The Greater Pibor forces split off from the Cobra faction, which had signed a peace agreement with the government. They joined opposition forces, and one of their disagreements with the government was the alleged encouragement of the Merle, as a method of divide and rule, to fight against newer groups in Jonglei, as some groups such as the Nuer White Army have fought against the government. 2016 Gambela raid. On April 15, 2016, Merle fighters in South Sudan crossed over to the Jakawo and Lair areas of the Gambela region, which hosts about 300,000 South Sudanese refugees, in Ethiopia, and killed at least 208 people, stole 2,000 cattle and kidnapped at least 108 women and children from the Nuer tribe. Ethiopian troops killed about 60 gunmen and crossed over the border with the South Sudanese government's permission to track the kidnappers in what some felt as the spilling over of fighting into Ethiopia. By 2017, about 100 children had been retrieved. 2017 Gambela raid. In March 2017, About 1,000 Merle gunmen from Boma State raided the Gambela region in Ethiopia and abducted 43 children. They were pursued by the Ethiopian military.